So if you watched a video I produced last July 4th, 2022, it was on the 8.6 Blackout, and I had my faction firearms. I actually had a 16-inch barrel carbine at the time. I also have an 8-inch Sentinel. This has the Mostech barrel on it, aftermarket. Awesome little pistol here. I'll be doing more videos on. Anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit about loading the 8.6 Blackout, specifically converting brass. Now I know if you watch that video, some of you astute watchers would notice that I did not fire consecutive strings of shots in that video. And there's an important reason why. Unbeknownst to me, I actually made the mistake of not realizing the thickness of the necks that I was converting the brass, specifically the Peterson brass and the Lapua brass. Now if you watched my podcast I did with Faction Firearms, I actually brought it out that I was actually having to mortar the fired rounds out of the chamber because the necks were too thick. Well, anyways, this video is going over the Sheridan Slotted Gauge for the 8.6 Blackout. I'm a big fan of Sheridan Engineering. I actually have one of their slotted case gauges for my 5.7 by 28. Let's look at some of the details. Stay tuned. Now, I don't know how well you're going to be able to discern. The case on the left is an Underwood Ammo 6.5 Creedmoor case that I converted, and the one on the right is a Federal 6mm Creedmoor case that I converted. So from the naked eye, you really can't tell the neck wall thicknesses. So you actually have to get some precision instruments out. So I have my digital ball micrometer. Some folks use a set of calipers. I prefer to use a ball micrometer when doing these fine measurements because I want to get down to the 10,000ths of an inch measurement. So here's the case wall thickness of 13 thou. Now I like to measure in 4 spots: 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. There's 12 and a half thou. 13 thou, and 13 thou. So there is a low and high spot. Hence, neck turning will actually get rid of that. So that was the Federal cartridge 6mm Creedmoor. All right, so let's go ahead and check the Underwood ammo. This is the 6.5 Creedmoor brass that I converted. 15 thou. 16 thou, 15.5 thou, and 15.5 thou. So now if we look at the Sheridan Slotted Gauge, so we'll go ahead and do the Federal cartridge first. So this is an awesome design case gauge. It's actually just duplicates the minimum spec chambers. It actually also is show your overall length. If it's actually going to chamber, I don't know how well you can see that. See those grooves right there? So we'll go ahead and we'll slip in this is the Federal cartridge. And that Federal cartridge fits nicely in there. The overall length is fine. In fact, I know it is because I measured on my calipers. I shoot for 1.685. Right about there, I'm 1.683. So let's go ahead and check the Underwood ammo. Houston, we have a problem. You can see that's not even going to chamber. See that? That's why you have to check your cases. And that's what happened to me last summer. I never checked my cases. I went ahead and loaded up some ammo, and they just would not chamber. They chambered hard, and then I had issues. All right, so I went ahead and just loaded up a dummy round. This is the Sierra 300 grain SMK. This is the Federal cartridge 6mm Creedmoor. And yes, that definitely loads with no issues. Albeit it's a fairly tight fit. If we actually look at the loaded round diameter, So roughly 365. I think the chamber spec on the 8.6 Blackout is 369. So we got some clearance there. That's not an issue. 364.5. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and check some of my ammo. I've already loaded up some test rounds. Here's a dummy round with some Peterson brass. Look at that, folks. Have an issue there. See that? Not sure if it looks like maybe the shoulder is where the issue at, because you see it's not chambering all the way. Like I said, these case gauges are invaluable. Here is a 220 grain maker. This is a round nose Rex on a Peterson brass. And I don't know how well you could see. You can see where I turned the necks already. Perfect. Look at that. Gotta love that. Nice. We're within the overall length. 205 grain hammer. This is Peterson brass small rifle primer. No issues there. Overall length. Chamber's fine. Well, I really love the Sheridan slotted case gauge. Here is a, I think this is, I'm not sure if this is a 270 grain. See that? Look at that. Another issue there. So I think the problem there is obviously the datum line on the shoulder. See that? So it's definitely well worth the money to get one of these Sheridan case gauges. All right, folks, this is Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors. Remember, support that Second Amendment. We'll see you later. Thank you. All right, pretty happy with those results.